Hi, this is Jaya. In this video, we shall see the summary of The Tempest, a play by William Shakespeare. The main characters of the play are Prospero, who is the protagonist of the play and also father of the beautiful Miranda. And before 12 years, Prospero was the Duke of Milan. But his brother Antonio, with the help of the King of Naples Alonso, had usurped him and made him to run away in a boat with his daughter. An honest Lord Gonzalo helped Prospero in this escape. And for 12 years, Prospero has been living in this island and he has been developing his magical power and surviving there. And then the next character is Miranda, the daughter of Prospero. And Miranda came to this island when she was a small baby. And from that time, she has been only with her father. And the only men she has seen is her father and Caliban and no one else. Then we find Ariel, who is Prospero's spirit helper, and it was Prospero who rescued Ariel from imprisonment because there was a witch called Sycorax in this island and she was ruling this island and she had imprisoned Ariel. And Ariel was confined to a tree and Prospero only released him, and from that time Ariel has been Prospero's servant and Prospero has promised him that he will give him freedom if he is going to do all the work which is assigned to him without any complaints. And then the next character is Caliban. Caliban is also another servant of Prospero, but this Caliban is actually the son of the witch Sycorax, and after the death of Sycorax, Prospero has been taking care of Caliban and he has been teaching him all, and Caliban is now under the idea that this island actually belongs to him because he is a son of Sycorax and he thinks that Prospero has stolen this island away from him. And then we find Ferdinand, who is the son of Alonso, and Alonso is the king of Naples and father of Ferdinand, and Alonso is the person who helped Antonio against Prospero to become the Duke of Milan 12 years ago. Then we have Antonio, who is Prospero's brother, and Sebastian, who is Alonso's brother. And then we find the good Lord Gonzalo, who actually helped Prospero and Miranda to escape from Antonio when he planned to kill them. Then we have minor characters like Trinculo and Stefano. Trinculo is a jester and Stefano is a butler. And here Stefano comes as a drunken butler, and both of them provide a comic relief in the play. And the last character is Boatswain. Boatswain actually appears only in the first and the last scenes of the play. Now we will go to the story. The story begins with a storm and a ship is traveling in the sea. And who are all in the ship are Alonso, Ferdinand, Sebastian, Antonio, Gonzalo, Stefano and Trinculo. And they have gone to Africa and they are returning back to Italy. And why they went to Africa is Alonso's daughter Caribel, she got married to the Prince Tunis in Africa. So they had gone there, and after the marriage they were returning, and now they are caught in the storm. And except Boatswain, others are fearing for their lives because they are very sure that the ship is going to wreck. And when this is happening, we find Miranda and Prospero standing in the shores and looking at the shipwreck. Now Miranda, who knows that her father has magical powers, asks her father to help them. Prospero tells her that this is the right time for her to know about her past and learn about herself, and he also tells her that this is not a natural storm and he only caused this storm. And then he tells a story. Prospero was the Duke of Milan, and his brother Antonio was given all the powers to take care of the kingdom because after Prospero's wife died, he started concentrating on his passion, which is magic, and he loved his daughter, so he was very happy with that, and he gave the duties to his brother Antonio. But Antonio wanted to become the king, so along with the king of Naples, he conspired against Prospero. And he actually wanted to kill Prospero, but he knew that people loved him because Prospero is a very good king. So what happened is he tried to kidnap him and put him in a raft and send him in the sea so that he will go somewhere and he will definitely die. But Prospero and his daughter survived because there was a good lord called Gonzalo. This Gonzalo had kept enough food, and he also kept Prospero's magic books in that raft. And he allowed them to escape in that raft, not ship. And Prospero and his daughter arrived at this island, and there only they saw Sycorax, and Prospero defeated Sycorax, and from that time they are living in this island, and it is nearly 12 years after they had come to this island. And only now Fortune has sent his enemy in his way, and so he has raised this Tempest to have his vengeance on them. And then Prospero, after telling the story, he makes Miranda to sleep using his magical powers, and then he calls a spirit Ariel, and Ariel is his chief magical agent, and Ariel will perform all the tasks which is assigned to him, and it is this Ariel who has made this Tempest and set the fire to the mast. But at the same time he made sure that no one was hurt and they all got safely to the island, and after they had arrived in the island he saw to it that they are separated in small groups away from each other. And this Ariel is actually a captive servant to Prospero, and so now he tells his master that Prospero has promised him freedom if he is going to perform all the tasks without complaints. And Prospero also reminds him that at one time he was the one who rescued him, because before Prospero could come into the island, the witch Sycorax had imprisoned Ariel in a tree because he refused to do the work which he said. And Sycorax died, leaving Ariel trapped in the tree. And it was Prospero who freed him, and at that time Prospero had told him that if he is going to do all the work assigned to him without complaints, he will give him freedom. Now Miranda wakes from her sleep, and she and Prospero go to see Caliban. Caliban is also another servant of Prospero, and he is a son of the dead Sycorax, and Caliban always curses Prospero. So Prospero and Miranda, they shout at him for being ungrateful, because they have given a lot, and Prospero has actually taken care of him like a son, and he has also taught him how to speak and how to behave. And now Prospero sends Caliban to fetch firewood. Here what happens is Ariel, he being invisible, he plays music which leads Ferdinand towards Miranda, and Miranda and Ferdinand meet each other for the first time, and this is the first time Miranda is seeing some other men other than Caliban and her father, and she is charmed by Ferdinand, and Ferdinand was also charmed by Miranda's innocence and beauty. And Prospero is very happy that his daughter's future marriage is working according to his own plans, but at the same time he thinks that he should not allow their relationship to develop too quickly, so he wants to do certain things to upset it temporarily. So he accuses Ferdinand to pretend to his daughter as though he is the prince of Naples, and threatens to put him in the prison. Immediately Ferdinand draws out his sword, but Prospero, using his magic, charms him and leads him off to a prison. Seeing this, Miranda cries for mercy, but he ignores her, and he puts Ferdinand into a prison, and he also tells him that he will be assigning him tasks which he has to do. Then he sends Ariel on another work. And in another part of the island, we find Alonso, Sebastian, Antonio, Gonzalo and other lords. They are happy that they are safe, but at the same time they are worried because they could not find Ferdinand. And Alonso really curses himself for having allowed his daughter to marry the Prince of Tunis, because only because of a marriage they had taken this journey, and now they are caught in the storm and he has lost his son. But Gonzalo, being a good person by nature, admires the beauty of the island, whereas Antonio and Sebastian are sarcastic about being here. At that time, Ariel, being invisible, he comes there and he plays music, and he puts everyone to sleep except Sebastian and Antonio. Now Sebastian and Antonio, they begin discussing about what they have to do in future. At that time, Antonio tells him that since Ferdinand is lost, and definitely Caribal, who is married in Africa, will not be coming back to Naples. If he kills his brother Alonso, he can become the king, because Antonio himself has done this to Prospero, so it is not new that his mind is working out like that. And Sebastian is also thinking that this is the best way for him to become the king. So what happens is, he is also convinced, and both of them take their sword to go and kill the sleeping men. At this time, Ariel causes Gonzalo to wake up with a shout, and everyone wakes up. And immediately Antonio and Sebastian, they tell a story that they took their swords to protect the people who were sleeping from the lions which may approach them. At that time, what happens is, Ariel goes back to Prospero, and while Alonso and this party, they go to continue and search for Ferdinand. Here we find Caliban howling wood for Prospero, and at that time he sees Trincalo, and he thinks that Trincalo is a spirit sent by Prospero to torment him because he was working very slowly. So he hides under his cloak. Trincalo also comes there, and without knowing that Caliban is there, he also crawls under the clock with him. Then comes Stefano, who is fully drunk, and he comes singing, and he comes and stumbles upon Caliban and Tricolo. Now Caliban thinks that both of them are spirits, so he shouts and says that they should not torment him and he will work faster. At that time what happens is Stefano sees Caliban and he gets him drunk, and soon we find three of them sitting together and drinking. Now Caliban is so happy that he has got very good masters who are giving him alcohol to drink and also sitting and singing with them, and he is very happy in that group. Here we find Prospero giving lots of work to Ferdinand. He asks him to collect wood, and Ferdinand we find is very happy to do all the work because he thinks that he is doing it all for Miranda's sake. And Miranda, when she sees all this, she is moved because she also knows that Ferdinand is doing all this hard work only for her sake. And thinking that her father is asleep, she asks Ferdinand to take a break. And when they are talking, Miranda proposes marriage, and Ferdinand also accepts to marry her. And Prospero, who is watching all this, is very pleased with this development. And here we find Stefano, Trinculo and Caliban. They are fully drunk, and Caliban tells Stefano to go and kill Prospero and take his daughter so that he can become the king of the island. And Stefano also thinks that this is a very good plan, and so all the three go in search of Prospero. But Ariel distracts them by playing music, and they decide to follow the music before they go and kill Prospero. And here we find Alonso, Gonzalo, Sebastian and Antonio. They are searching for Ferdinand, and now they become tired and they decide to take rest. And here Antonio and Sebastian, they secretly plan to kill the other two by the evening. By this time, Prospero prepares for a banquet using all the spirits, and as the men come around, they see the banquet with nice food. So they prepare to eat. But before they can eat, Ariel appears like a harpy. Harpy is a giant eagle which has a bird's body and a human head. It comes and it makes banquets to vanish, and it also curses the men for the wrong deeds they had done to Prospero. And he tells that only because of this sin, Alonso's son is lost. And then he vanishes. But Alonso, on hearing this, he feels vexed and guilty. Now Prospero's heart softens towards Ferdinand, and he says that he is prepared to accept Ferdinand into his family as the soon-to-be husband of Miranda. But he tells Ferdinand to maintain his distance with Miranda till they get married. Then he calls Ariel and he asks him to bring some more spirits to perform a mask for Ferdinand and Miranda. So the spirits all come and they assume the shapes of Ceres, Juno and Iris, and they perform a short mask to celebrate the rites of the marriage. And here there is also a dance of the reapers and nymphs. But Prospero suddenly interrupts it because he remembers about the three people who are plotting against his life. So he sends the spirits away and asks Ariel about Trinculo, Stefano and Caliban, and Ariel tells about their plan to kill Prospero, and he tells how he had distracted them and led them to a prickly glass, and now they are in a filthy pond near Prospero's cell. So Ariel and Prospero, now they trap these three people into his cell, where the cell has beautiful clothings, and Stefano, Trinculo and Caliban enter there searching for Prospero, but on finding the beautiful clothings they decide to steal it. And the moment they wear all these beautiful clothings, all the spirits, they come in the shape of dogs and hounds and they chase them. And now what happens is Prospero uses Ariel and he brings Alonso and others before him, and then he sends Ariel to bring Boatswain and the mariners who are still sleeping in the wrecked ship. And then Prospero confronts Alonso, Antonio and Sebastian for what they have done to him, and once they ask for forgiveness, he becomes soft and he forgives them. And Alonso tells him that only because of the wrongdoings he has done to Prospero, he has now lost his son Ferdinand in the Tempest. And on hearing that, Prospero draws a curtain aside, and they all see Ferdinand and Miranda playing chess, and now they are all very happy on finding Ferdinand, and Ferdinand is also happy to see the others, and he tells his father about his marriage to Miranda. At that time, Ariel returns with Boatswain and the mariners, and now Prospero asks Ariel to release Caliban, Trinculo and Stefano, and Prospero also tells the others about his life in this island for 12 years. Now they all plan to return to Italy, and now Prospero is restored with his dukedom, and so he will also be going back to Milan as the Duke of Milan. And Prospero gives Ariel one final task. He asks him to see that the seas are calm, to help in their voyage, and then he says that this is the final task, and after this Ariel is free. And finally Prospero delivers an epilogue to the audience, and he says that you should always forgive others if they do something wrong to you, and he also asks the audience to release him by applauding him, and here the play ends. It's a beautiful play written by Shakespeare. If you have anything more to add on to what I've said, please write it in the comment box. Like the video, share it with your friends, and if you have not subscribed my channel, please subscribe. Thank you.